Okay, this is the F1D vlog episode number 8. This is covering Ray Harlan's glue pot for boron, coating boron with glue. It is just this little teeny tiny bit of cylindrical aluminum that has a hole drilled in the bottom of it. It is 0.3795, so 0.38 round. It has a hole in the center of it to a certain degree, then it goes down in a cone, and then it goes down into a finer cone, and then the center is, I believe, approximately 14 thousandths of an inch thick. When you fill this thing up with Duco or Ambroid or any sort of glue like that, typically it's used full strength. And for illustration purposes here, I'm hoping this wire will actually show up, because I do not believe that boron will. This is 13 thousandths music wire. Boron is 3 thousandths of an inch thick, typically, and I do not believe it's going to show up on the video well enough to show you how to use it. I'm going to demonstrate here, not with an actual piece of boron, but this piece of music wire, because I think it'll show you the technique that's required. Basically, you fill this thing up very near the top, and you're going to take the boron and sip it through the hole until it comes out the other side. Once it comes out the other side, you'll grab it from the bottom, and you're going to pull it through and watch it very carefully. It should come through, and it should coat as a smooth coat of glue on the outside. If it balls up in any sort of way, stop what you're doing, pull it out like this, wipe the glue off, and clean out the glue pot completely. Use acetone, and make sure you use a 13 or 14 thousandths thick piece of music wire to kind of push things out and clean it. Let it sit for a while in acetone, really clean it out, because if it starts to ball up, it's usually bits of glue that are dried. They're not letting the clean glue through. So you do have to have the nice, clean, liquid glue coming through. Anyway, you will put it in like this, and when it comes through, I tend to pull it off to the side a little bit like this. And this is about the speed that's used. It's not very fast, and when you're done, what's going to happen is it will fall. That's if this one was not too tight at the one end, but the boron is going to fall. So you want to do this in a place or an area where you have free space in front of you, more than I have here, and then it'll be coated in glue. So you're going to just basically want to take it and whip it off to the side a little bit like this, so it has a little chance to dry. And typically what I'll do is have a little bit of masking tape sitting on the edge of the table when I'm doing this, and I will just stick it on the piece of masking tape on the side of the table and let it sit there and dry. Then I will move on to the next one. Now, there are a couple of different ways you can approach this. Well, I should warn you, I should also say, when you fill this pot up, you can expect to have 2 or maybe 3 pieces of boron that will go through it before you need to add more glue. If it looks like there's a very little bit in the bottom, start adding more, because you will need it. Some folks are going to, John Kagan recommended to me that the boron be hit with acetone ahead of time. Basically, the idea being that you would remove any sort of chemical deposit that's on it, and where you touch it there at the end, when you put it in, that part generally does not get used. You would end up kind of cracking it off. I haven't seen my own case. It hasn't really worked out all that well for me. I don't think it's a bad idea. I'm just not sure it's worth the extra hassle or trouble. Boron is just another composite to me. Some people worry about it being dangerous. I don't really think it's any more dangerous than fiberglass or carbon fiber that has been hit with an epoxy matrix. It is sharp, but so is carbon, so is fiberglass. You can have it go right into your skin, but same with anything else. So anything like this that you work with, you just have to be cognizant of the danger per se. My best recommendation for you to do is to have an absolutely clean table. Put something down on top of it like plastic, preferably like a white plastic that you can't see through, and tape it down on your table. Do all of your boron work on top of the table, and then when you're done, you just pull up the tape, fold up the plastic, and throw it away. That's probably your best way of working on it if you're scared of working with this stuff, or if you've heard horror stories or such. It's just another composite. Boron is used mainly in a couple of different spots. Some people use it on their motor sticks. I don't really find it's necessary on the motor sticks. Where it is absolutely necessary is on the stub behind the wing and on the tail boom. And then depending upon what you use for the wing posts, you will probably want to use it on the side of your wing post if you're using a balsa wing post. If it's 003, you're probably going to use 2 on each side. If it's 004, you can probably get away with 1 on each side. I like to actually, if I'm using balsa, I like to use balsa on the front and the back, or the boron on the front and the back as well, at least for the first inch. And then after that, it can be just on the sides. I tend to not break my wing posts that way. Same thing for the tail boom. What you have for your stabilizer, all 4 corners for that on those pieces if you're using boron. Other things people will use boron for is if they're using a lightweight prop spar, you can put boron all 4 sides, actually all the way out to the tips if you'd like, and if that's the type of prop that you're making, and that will greatly increase the stiffness of the prop. Folks, if you've ever seen one of these F1Ds launch when they're like 0.4, 0.5 inch ounces of torque on one that does not have boron on it, the props will bend significantly. And to use a piece that's really big, but they will bend something like this as they're going around. So that's a significant amount of stress on that. And then if you put the boron on it, it will bend very, very little instead. When you're building a tail boom, putting boron on the top and the bottom, or in a triangular way, so like every 120 degrees to kind of keep it straight, it will cause the tail boom to deflect about half as much as it would without boron. So it's a really good idea to put it on there if you need it. Can't really think of anything else I need to talk about boron in this particular glue pot. You just got to clean it with acetone when you're done. I like to run, I actually use a piece of paper towel and I just jam it in there and get most of the glue out. Then I'll stick it into a bottle with acetone, and after about 10 or 15 minutes I will pull it out, use a bit of wire just to push it out, just to be sure there's no glue on the inside of it like that. And then when I'm done, set it off to dry, and that's that. A little bit of extra work in the end, but it will save you a lot of time later on if it does get stuck with glue, because it can take a really long time for it to dissolve otherwise. Anyway, I hope you found this informative. Thanks and have a good day.